let us head on to chapter number 4. So in this chapter, we're going to deal with something that is called as globalization and the Indian economy. So what exactly is globalization is what we're going to be discussing in this chapter. Also, how did globalization even come about in the entire world, and how is globalization pushing the Indian economy and the other economies of the world in various sectors of our economy, such as primary sector, secondary sector and the tertiary sector. So firstly, what we will be doing is I will be explaining to you the exact meaning of globalization, the history of globalization, so you will have a brief idea as to why it even began in the first place, right? So let us head on to the table of content to see the overview of this entire chapter. So firstly, what we'll be discussing about is the introduction as to what is globalization, why it even cropped up in the first place. Then we will see the kind of production that happens across different countries. Every country is able to produce one thing more than the other countries, right? So Japan can produce more cars than the rest of the countries, for example. And also how you interlink this kind of production. For example, car parts are manufactured in different countries. Finally, one major country will bring together all the different parts by interlinking the production and assemble the entire car in one area, and finally export it for to different countries for their usage, right? Then we see about what is foreign trade and how the markets are integrated in the different foreign countries. Then we enter the main globalization scenario. We will check out on the details as to what exactly this is and the kind of history relating to the factors as to what even enabled globalization in the first place, right? Then we see the main trading body in the world, that is called as World Trade Organization, and its role, what it plays in the globalization scenario. Then we see the kind of consequences and the impact globalization has played on our country and the different people in our country, the different sectors, right? Once we've seen what exactly globalization is, we are able to criticize what the negatives are about globalization. That is, we can see the kind of different challenges that India faces with respect to globalization. Then also, we see the kind of struggle that is there in our country for a fair globalization to occur, right? So once we've seen the challenges and once we've seen the struggle, it is very easy for us to evaluate what kind of different government policies are in place to ensure that the struggle is balanced. There is no kind of struggle, there's a positive outcome as to how globalization can favor our country. Okay. Once we've seen that, we are going to discuss the brief summary as to what we have covered, and once the summary is done, we will enter the exercises and MCQs as to and evaluate as to where we stand in this chapter. So let us begin with this chapter.